Brie Larson of Lessons in Chemistry. They are on the record, but just a little off script with The Hollywood Reporter. Take it away, Lacey.
Who's ever lied to land a job?
When?
Yeah.
Just
I
now?
don't know when.
Sure.
Probably.
Yes,
Okay,
for
okay.
sure. But
We all lied that we knew how to ride a horse and we couldn't.
yeah.
No, I can ride a horse.
Okay, so you didn't have to lie about that.
But I did lie about ice skating.
You guys.
Hear the no,
Well, yeah.
obviously.
You had the sort of the confidence, the gumption to say, even, I mean, you're 13, 14 years old, to say, well, wait a second, this doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel like me. I guess I'm curious sort of where that comes from, but also how it's received.
Oh, not well.
Not well.
Yeah, no. I'm just more comfortable with how uncomfortable it makes people that I'm very clear about what a yes and a no is for me. And I think I've learned that if I can understand what a no is and be able to say it before I'm upset about it, it's a much better conversation. Some people are surprised, I think, by how quick and concise I can be about things, but I think it actually just avoids a lot of drama in the end.
Sure.
Because the thing I like to remind myself is that no matter what, like, you all can have what you want with me on set, but I have to go home and live with myself. And it's a lot of the time you learn what your no's are from saying yes to it or being in the heat of the moment. And then you go home and you're like, why do I feel bad?
Yep.
And sometimes they're little sneaky things. Sometimes it's clear. Sometimes you're like, oh yeah, it was those little tiny things that actually added up and made me feel not good. And I have a whole job to do, you know? So I've just become very confident with that part of it about like that I'm in charge of myself, which I know is like such a small thing, but it's tough. If you haven't been on a set, it's hard to understand, I think, like how quick the pace of everything and that you feel like there's this pressure and you're going to let people down. And instead you learn that you're letting yourself down, not to let everybody else down. And that just doesn't work. Not to say that I have a perfect track record. Of course, there were times where I was like, please, someone love me. That's just like part of it too.
That's
but
human
I
nature.
will say that, yeah, I'm good with no. No, I've got handled, I think.
And your team was very supportive of that. Mm-hmm. Oh, nice.
Yeah, they were. They were.
Because I was working in Japan for a while, and
I think what I'm hearing in all this, because I'm kind of defining it now for myself, is like, it's not like anything that's getting in the way of doing the best work that I possibly can. That's where my yeses and nos come in. If I feel like there's something, whether it's a yes or a no, that's like, ooh, that's going to make me so uncomfortable, I can't focus and do what I need to do. Or like, this is a yes, and like the fear stuff is like the best part, I think.
Yeah.
Like when you're like, oh, I know I'm supposed to do this and I'm so scared, that's different. But when it's like things that are toggling so that you can actually just do work that feels responsible and safe, that's where those yeses and nos come in for me. Yeah.
There's another piece of outreach that I think I've heard you say you do, which is if you read someone's going to play a superhero character, you'll reach out.
yeah.
We need to know what the superhero tips are. What are they?
I always do.
You're a mentor?
Always. Always. I'm like the first person to email everybody. Yeah, because it's very specific and very strange. And people are like, I don't know how to do this. I'm like, yeah, no one does. Why would you?
So what do you say? Give us some wisdom.
Well, I mean, the simple things are, as I say, like be as prepared in your body as you possibly can so that you feel like you can take it on, because it only gets harder as the job goes on. Really understand how to be able to go to the bathroom in your suit.
Like zippers? Is that what that is?
Yeah, I mean, it was like the first Captain
Yeah.
Marvel. Yeah, don't drink. Don't do anything to make it harder for yourself the next day. I mean, the first Captain Marvel, it was like a 45-minute thing to get me in and out of that costume to go to the bathroom. And it took like someone helping
So there wasn't
me.
even a little like secret trap door?
That's why I'm like, get a plan and
Yeah, so
understand.
little zipper.
I don't
Yeah,
think I understand it when people have to wait for me to go to the bathroom. So I would always have to time it out. I have to be like, okay, we have a long break
That would
because I'm
give
going to.
me anxiety.
Yeah, it's a whole
Can't have
thing.
a sip of water.
It's a whole thing.
Yeah,
And it can feel, it's a lot of pressure. And
Yeah.
I think it's a strange thing, especially when you're a newcomer and you're tasked with being the most powerful blah, blah, blah of blah, blah, blah. And you feel scared. Like, it's so hard to be like the cool, confident one when you're like, do I know what I'm supposed to be doing? And so it's just the initial conversation. And then it's also like, please just call me or text me if you're like, I don't understand. Like, and a lot of people are like, how do you do it with just like a tape marker, a blue wall? And,
Oh, yeah.
you know, there's things like that. But more than anything, it's just, I remember feeling so petrified. And I felt very lucky that I came into Marvel at a time when it was this 10-year anniversary. So I was around everybody on Avengers. And I was like, will you help me? I'm the new superhero. And they're like, you got it, kid. And like, but people gave me like actual tangible pieces of advice and felt like they were an open sounding board. And just having that made me feel like it was okay that I was there.
Sure. Are the sort of roles, or perhaps it's terms, triggering terms and character descriptions that make you all say, like, not gonna do this?
Broken but beautiful. Or beautiful but she doesn't know it.
That one came so easily to you.
Oh yeah, I was ready. I've read that so many times. I read that last week probably. Beautiful but doesn't know it. I'm like, how? But you're telling me. It's in
But I do know it.
I cried.
Best
It
ever.
really is. Brie, in Lessons in Chemistry, you play a character that men inherently distrust and dislike for no reason other than the fact that she is a woman. Is that right? I guess I couldn't help but see the correlation between how...
Oh, okay.
Is this where you think it's going?
I'm scared. Let's keep going.
Okay. Couldn't help but see the correlation between what your character experiences and what you, as you sort of navigate the sort of superhero Marvel world, has experienced.
Well, I don't know if it's specific to Marvel. I think that's just, I only know my experience, and my experience is being underestimated at times.
Yeah.
So,
Do you draw from that in a character like this?
of course. I think the best I've been able to find with characters I play is that they're all me. Yeah. It's just like a mixing board. It's like if you've ever watched, like, I don't know, a musician and they're mixing their music and it's like, oh, that's that lever. And I'm just messing with those. There's things that are living inside of you that I don't know if you would have given a life to without it. And sometimes they're really beautiful and sometimes they're sad, sometimes they're scary. Sometimes they make you stay up at night. But all of those things, I feel like my life is it's so enriched. Yeah, it's been so enriched by it. And I think the hardest part for me has not been committing to the characters, it's getting out of them.
Do you have tricks? Like, do you have a...
Yeah, I basically haven't done anything as dark as Sense Room because it took me like a year to get out of it. And I didn't go to school for acting. I don't know how to do this job either. And so I spent 9 months creating that character and living that character, and then I was back at home and I didn't know how to exist in the world anymore. And it was really scary. And so it took me a long time to be able to just do basic things that I used to enjoy in my life. And so after that, it was like 5 years of purposely picking jobs where I felt like it was safe for me to try out new techniques. It was safe for me to try and figure out, okay, how can I do things so that I go home and feel just a little bit better and slowly start edging myself?
Like feeling like you.
Yeah, because it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. And you hope that you have the grace of a line producer who has scheduled it to where there's moments where you can offload. Like Lessons in Chemistry, I didn't have that so much, especially with the character that like won't let anybody see her emotions. So I eventually just was like, you have to put a pop-up tent on set, and that's like where I'm gonna go cry. Because sometimes it feels so intense and you have everyone going like, don't cry still, don't cry. And you're like, I can't, whatever you see on camera, which is like, could be a 60-second scene, I've been doing for 3 days, I can't do it anymore. And so you have to find ways to learn how to offload. You have to find what works for you. But to me, that's always been the biggest challenge and what keeps me from drinking.
Everyone's got their thing.
Yeah, but that's always been the thing I'd say for myself that has kept me from doing like dramatic roles in that way. And I feel like I'm just at the point where I feel like I could do it, where I feel like I have enough. I trust myself with the technique that I have now that I could do it.
What is the most used emoji on your phone? I can go first. Mine is an eye roll.
With the cross face.
It tells everything you want to say. And laughing.
Right, like the sideways guy? Yeah. Yep. See? Should we cheers and thank you all for being here? I wish it could go on much longer.
To go so quickly.
I know, but sometimes
You have to look in everybody's eyes. There's 7 years of bad sex.
Oh my God.
Crazy people.